The cost of food is taking a major bite out of family budgets, which are already stretched to the max these days. So over the summer, All You magazine gave its readers a challenge, asking who could feed their families best on a limited budget. The winner, Sarah Vanderzee of Grand Rapids, Michigan. When you watch Sarah Vanderzee in the kitchen today, it's hard to imagine that until recently, this mother of three was a stranger to culinary creation.
And a year ago, I never cooked or baked at all. And we ate out a lot.
Those bad habits were adding up. The calories,
The fried chicken.
the sugar,
I used to be a huge soda drinker.
and especially the cost.
After a $2,000 root canal,
Sarah and her husband were $16,000 in debt, and their $200 a week food budget wasn't helping. But then she discovered the All You magazine grocery challenge. Sarah's task, find ways to eat better while spending less than $125 per week. Almost overnight,
I have a lot of fresh produce in here right now. That's the new norm.
everything changed.
It's like a challenge to see how cheap I can make something from scratch.
Instead of stopping in the cookie aisle, Sarah now buys fresh produce on sale. Rather than eating out, she's dusted off her crock pot and bread maker. And she found other ways to save. Freezing fruits and vegetables for later use, searching online for recipes instead of buying cookbooks. And when mixing up a meal, she doubles the recipe.
To make this whole container was probably less than $2. So yeah, very, very cheap.
During the challenge, Sarah spent just $60 a week, less than half her budget, and a third of what she used to spend. This month, All You magazine declared Sarah the winner.
Hang on.
While the Vanderzee family certainly welcomes the $1,000 prize, the real reward is better eating.
I'm finally starting to realize that, cooking and baking from scratch saves a lot of money, but it is definitely offering, healthier choices too.
The double benefit. Sarah Vanderzee is just one of several super savers to be profiled in this month's issue of All You magazine. And senior editor Amy Goodman is here to share some advice that you actually learned from some of the readers, which is great.
Our readers are amazing, and actually All You is really comprised about the strength and tips of our readers. These are really smart, savvy women who are looking for great affordability in life and trying to make those even sometimes month-to-month budgets stretch for their families.
This was a great challenge, not just for Sarah, but for everybody who participated. And it's so easy to relate to. My husband and I were just having this conversation. We need to cut down our grocery bill. So we've started doing some things. Some of them, like you have tips from your readers. So we're going to go through. Michelle said she started recording what her family eats in a daily journal. This works for a diet. It works for shopping as well. And you have some great online tools to do that.
We do. Parrotbudget.com is one, and bankrate.com is another. What is so great about both of these sites, they're very easy to use, even if you're not a tremendous number cruncher. Parrotbudget, for example, helps you build a plan for expenditures. Then you plug in those numbers, and in the end, you come up with a really budget that's tangible for you and your family. And for one of our readers, Michelle, who gave us that tip, she saved $1,500 in 2 months.
In just 2 months?
In just 2 months, by keeping track, using an Excel spreadsheet, also being able to use a daily journal to record her expenses. It's a tremendous savings. And she also used southernsavers.com, a tremendous blog that is a new way to coupon that organizes your coupons by date. So whatever works for you really is the answer, but keeping track is the first step.
Yes, plus it makes you think twice maybe about those purchases when you have to write it down.
Yes.
Speaking of keeping track, Kristen has some great advice, which we all hear over the years, but it's really worked here. She looked at using cash. She gets $125 out of the bank in cash each week. That's the money to shop with for the week.
Right. And in our challenge, we allotted $25 per person. So she's a family of 5. When you use cash instead of plastic, plastic's not tangible. It's not before you. And she found that her husband was using a lot of money at the convenience store and vending machines, and that money was just completely depleting their budget. So cash, going shopping once a week, sticking to a list, these are all really smart ideas. We had another All You reader who said, make a list, but be really open in the produce department, because that's where you can save a lot on flash sales and special sales to complement with your vegetables and produce.
So you have to have a little bit of flexibility there. Michelle, who we heard from initially, but Michelle back with another tip about snacks. And one of the ways she's keeping her preteens happy, she's making snacks at home. So everything we have here, from popcorn to cookies.
And making them homemade.
I have to eat it.
I think the key is that when you have a lot of kids coming over, it can go beyond just your family in terms of feeding, right? And they're always grazing. They're always in the pantry. pantry.
teenage boys eat a lot.
And what they found is that in our effort to save money during our grocery challenge, they were also really eating more healthfully. So instead of having a lot of chips, she would do pretzels and yogurt, buying those in bulk. Her family didn't even notice the difference in their packed lunches, and her husband lost 10 pounds in 1 month on the challenge.
There's the added benefit. Another great way to shop, one of your readers, Samantha, wrote in about, is shopping at ethnic or ethnic community stores. We can actually get a great deal on stuff.
It's really tremendous. I can tell you that at my Asian market, I bought a head of cauliflower for $1, where at my local grocery store, it was $4. So that's going off the beaten path, maybe within your given community, is a great way to have savings.
And you might also discover some great new foods as well. I find great spices there at a really reasonable deal. Finally, from Beth, she says that shopping with a friend can really save you a lot of money.
And Beth knows what she's talking about, because she's saved $10,000 in 1 year using coupons and store sales.
Wow.
Finding a buddy within your own neighborhood who has similar tastes in terms of palate, maybe a similar family. They also have kids. You have kids. It's great to do exchanges, to do bartering. She also supplements all of this by gardening and growing vegetables in her own garden. And any abundant items that she has, she swaps with another neighbor for different vegetables. Lastly, she freezes any of the leftovers. This is what we talk about, maximizing a month-to-month budget by going in perhaps on bulk items and sharing the cost of them.
Beth is my hero. Such great tips. As always, Amy Goodman, always a pleasure to have you with us.